Imagine a Ponzi scheme so clever that it remained undetected for over a decade. The mastermind behind it successfully swindled investors out of an astonishing $65 billion, making it the largest Ponzi scheme in history. His fraudulent investments left a trail of devastation, causing countless ordinary citizens to lose their life savings, homes, and sense of financial security. But what was the method behind this madness? And what caused its ultimate downfall? This is the story of Bernie Madoff. In 1960, Bernie Madoff graduated from college with a degree in political science. He started out small by launching a penny stock brokerage firm named Bernie L. Madoff Investment Securities. To do that, he used his life savings, which he earned as a lifeguard and irrigation sprinkler installer during his college years. He managed to secure a significant loan from his father-in-law. But this was just the beginning for Madoff, as soon he would be developing much larger sums. Fueled by his desire to rule the world of finance, he started developing computer software and trading strategies that would help him achieve his grand goals. And as time went by, Madoff's firm started gaining the popularity it deserved. But not just his firm. He started creating a reputation for himself as a very effective and trustworthy businessman who consistently delivers returns for his clients. But his method for finding clients was even more interesting. And speaking of clients, he did something special. Instead of attending flashy meetings and showing off luxurious items like cars and houses, he opted for secrecy and selectiveness. He selected a group of very high-value clients, and even celebrities, and claimed that his deals were not for everyone. What this did was create a special aura around him and his firm, and everyone was dying to be a part of it. Everyone wanted to be a part of this hidden circle, and most importantly, everyone wanted high and consistent returns. Madoff gradually added more high-profile clients, and with every new addition, he appeared more legit, believable, and lovable. But little did they know he was on his way to becoming one of the most hated men on earth, who created the biggest ever Ponzi scheme. But what is a Ponzi scheme exactly? But wait a minute, how about a brief run-through on the idea behind the so-called Ponzi scheme? So this is how it works. It first starts with a promise of high returns for investors with little to no risk. After successfully convincing the investors and collecting their hard-earned money, a diversion of funds takes place. But these funds are not just diverted anyhow. They are used to pay old investors. So you see, it's just a circle, and as long as newer investors keep coming in with money, the older ones get their return. This circle can continue till the con artist stops the whole business, or if all the investors demand their money all at the same time. So that is what Madoff did, but he added a little twist to his scheme. Remember when I said Madoff practiced secrecy and selectiveness? He did that to make it extremely difficult for people to examine how he ran his business. But that's not all. After depositing clients' money into a personal account, instead of stocks like he promised, he went ahead and generated fake account statements to create an illusion of growth and success. Madoff also knew how to attract new investors. He needed these new investors because he needed their money to pay the older ones. With this consistent money flow, Madoff painted a good picture for himself and was able to bring in newer investors. And of course, the more investors he brought in, the longer he could sustain the illusion. But Madoff is a very relentless guy. He wasn't going to stop there. To create the best reputation possible, he started serving on different industry boards and committees. But surprisingly, some people were smart enough to recognize that something was shady about Madoff and his scheme. While the majority were completely blinded by what Madoff had to offer, some realized it was too good to be true. I mean, how could a man consistently outperform the market, even when there are global downturns? His lack of transparency also disturbed people. Why so secretive, man? What are you hiding? But see, although some financial experts raised these concerns, they all got dismissed. Madoff had already captured the soul of the public. He had already built a reputation that put him above any illegal talk. Imagine someone coming out saying Elon Musk is a con artist. Who would believe that? Yeah, that's what I thought. But things started taking a dramatic turn for Madoff, and trust me, he wasn't ready for it. Something was looming over the horizon. Year 2008, recession was coming. A huge financial crisis stormed the world in 2008, and that marked a turning point for Madoff. With the financial crisis now in play, investors around the world started reevaluating their decisions, and rearranging things on their scale of preference. These guys were scared of the economy, and many of them started demanding partial withdrawals from their money with Madoff. Remember when I talked about the things that could end an ongoing Ponzi scheme? Yeah, one of them was now playing out. We already know that Madoff needed a consistent influx of money to keep his scheme running. But this time what he was getting was loads and loads of withdrawal requests. Madoff couldn't meet these requests. He tried borrowing money from financial institutions, but due to the current economic situation, they couldn't. He even tried borrowing from friends and family, but all was to no avail. This was the beginning of troubles for Madoff. And slowly, people started seeing him for who he truly was. He was not investing the investors' money because if he was, we would easily pay back. People started asking questions, and even his family members became confused and worried. His sons, Andrew and Mark, confronted him, demanding an explanation on why he was having a hard time paying the investors. And for the first time, Madoff confessed. He admitted his business was a Ponzi scheme that ran on lies. Andrew and Mark could not believe their ears. They immediately ran to the authorities to report their dad. Shocking, right? The FBI, without wasting any time, pounced on Madoff and charged him with fraud and money laundering. Although things seemed dire for Madoff, they were even worse for his victims. Like a wildfire, the news of Madoff's arrest spread, and the whole financial world went on its knees. Investors, charity organizations, celebrities. Basically anyone who had money with Madoff were thrown into a state of disbelief and heartbreak. It was like their worlds were over. For weeks and even months, the news headlines remained the same. Madoff, the man who symbolized success and growth, was in fact a con artist that had ruined the lives of many. Wow. But his arrest was not the end. The legal proceedings that followed were mighty. Of course, they had to be. This man just pulled $65 billion. He was charged with 11 counts of security fraud and investment advisor fraud. He pleaded guilty to all of them, but that just wasn't enough for the victims. They wanted a public trial, of course. It's fair they see the man who has caused them so much financial ruin get the punishment he deserves. In fact, it was during this open trial that the true cost of his scheme was realized: $65 billion. But it's not just about the figure. What about the hopes and dreams that were shattered? Bernie Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in prison. It is basically lifetime imprisonment because there's no way he's staying alive that long. But I'm sure we can agree he got what he truly deserved. But one thing this scandal teaches us is to stay as vigilant as possible when it comes to investing. Sometimes some things are actually too good to be true and should be avoided by all means. Also, financial advisors are underrated. Ensure you consult them before making huge financial decisions. You don't want to end up a victim of fraud or another Ponzi scheme, because trust me, many low-key Ponzi schemes are still going on. They've just not caught the global eye. For the victims of the Madoff scheme, the truth is, although efforts are still being made by the government to compensate for their loss, it is impossible to fully do this, and that is truly sad. And that wraps up the story of the biggest Ponzi scheme in history. But you see, something stood out to me in this story, and it still stands out. Is it possible Madoff's sons, or the entire family at large, had no idea Madoff was running a Ponzi scheme? Really? Let me know what you think about that in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like. And if you haven't, subscribe to this channel. You don't want to miss amazing content like this. Enjoy your day. I'll see you in the next one.